Mark Jackson will join us to break down the game. Also, breaking news, Tyrod Taylor is starting again for the Bills. Herm Edwards on the potential impact in the locker room. And the Celtics go for 17 tonight. Paul Pierce, Chauncey Billups in L.A. on set with me, and they break it down. That's coming up next.
Sports Center, coast to coast. It's where you come when you want the most. Every city, every state and time. Get ready, we about to break it down.
Happy Turkey Day, or happy day before Turkey Day.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving Eve to you, Carrie Champion.
Eve. Okay, why do you have to be so succinct and so to the point, David? Why?
You put
David
it right
Lloyd,
out there for me.
Carrie Champion here. I am so happy to have this day with you, David. So much to talk about in the NBA, is there not?
Yeah, we got a streak on the line tonight in Miami. The Celtics going for 17 in a row. Of course, they've been led during the stretch by Kyrie Irving, who has scored 62 points in just 28 clutch time minutes. Clutch time, final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter or overtime with the team separated by 5 points or fewer. And as we have seen over the years, Kyrie really good in clutch time. His overall numbers last two games, 38.5 a game on 77% shooting, 14 of 14 in the paint, which is ridiculous, 10 of 13 from three-point range, equally ridiculous. And despite all that offense, the Celtics wouldn't be winning without the D. The C's ranked first in defensive efficiency during the streak, and for the season, they beat the Warriors last week despite shooting 33% from the field. Celtics 4 wins away from setting a team record for longest winning streak. Kyrie doesn't want to hear it.
We're just living in it, man. We're present. So, just taking it one moment at a time, man. We're just unwavering, man. And I think that just goes back to, the young guys that we have on this team and how dedicated they are to their craft, and as well as having myself and Al and having Gordon be a supporter from not just the background, but also now coming to the games and being able to text us. And, we're all just staying the course. We understand that this is all new, but the fact that we can be present every single day in every game is a step in the right direction.
All right, as mentioned before, 17th straight, that's what they're going for tonight. Stephen A. Smith joining us here, just fresh off of First Take and on Coast to Coast. Now, Stephen A., I want to make sure this is right. You said that Kyrie is your leading candidate for MVP. Is that right?
Leading candidate right now, yes. I don't think it'll last, but right now, yes.
Why so?
How about 16 straight wins without the services of Gordon Hayward? Having puppies like Jaylen Brown, a second-year player, and Jason Tatum as a rookie to lean on and still doing what he does the way that he does it. I think it speaks for itself. The man has been clutch, which he has been throughout his career. He's a closer. He's showing that he can run a basketball team while still being a scoring machine when called upon to do so. And he, the pressure's on him because obviously he decided to leave LeBron James in Cleveland and go someplace else where he could establish his own identity as a number one option, a leader on a team. And so him doing that and them being the most successful team in the league this year without any of the problems that have existed in Cleveland, right now, it's early in the season, but right now he would be my league MVP.
All right, that's Stephen A.'s take on that. Stay with us for a second. We're going to talk about the game of the night, and we would like for you to help break that down for us. David?
Sure.
Yeah, game of the night got to be KD and the Warriors in OKC. Remember last season, February 11th, Durant made his return to Oklahoma. Thunder fans equating Durant with a cupcake for packing up to go play for the super team in Oakland.
Number 35, Kevin Durant.
He was lustily booed back at OKC, and KD was unfazed. He would out hit his thing, getting loose on the break here. And, of course, a little extracurricular. Russ jawed at Durant, and Durant back at Russ. Westbrook was brilliant in this game, by the way. Had 47 points. But KD would chip in with 34, and his team would go on to win this one 130 to 114. And now KD back tonight. So this is an extra special, super-duper game. Right, Kevin?
No, this is a regular game for me now. I learned how to tune out the crowd. I learned how to tune out the bullshit, and just play. And just keep it at basketball, then I'll be all right.
Have you gotten to the point where this is just another game, or does it mean something more?
I've been at that point since I got drafted.
Okay, so not an extra special game, David, for Kevin Durant. But Stephen A., let me ask you this. He says it's really no big deal. Let's talk about Westbrook then and his two new teammates, and Paul George and Carmelo Anthony. At 7 and 9, is this a big deal for them tonight?
Well, I think it's a big deal for them, but the latter two, Carmelo Anthony and Paul George, it's not that big of a deal for Russell Westbrook. He's the reigning league MVP. He had to carry the team on his back after Kevin Durant left him high and dry. And so as a result of that, having to endure what he had to endure last season as a solo act, the priority is for the other two guys, Paul George and Carmelo Anthony, to remind the world that they arrived in Oklahoma City to legitimately compete and be a roadblock in title contention for the Golden State Warriors. That's why they're there. We don't have any questions about Russell Westbrook. We're looking at him and we want him to lead this team, but we certainly don't have any questions about what he brings to the table. It's going to be a question about what those two can bring to the table in assisting him to compete against the Golden State Warriors, because we know he couldn't do it by himself, and we don't have any questions about his skill set. Paul George, nasty injury a few years ago, plus in Indiana last year, even though he was a star, it's not like he's averaging 30 a game. And Carmelo Anthony is now 33 years of age. People have intimated he may have lost a step. I still think he's a guy that could explode at any given moment. The combination of the three, all averaging over 20 points per game, you expect that three-headed monster to be what legitimately stands in front of the Golden State Warriors. But it's up to Paul George and Carmelo Anthony to prove something. Russell Westbrook has nothing to prove.
All right, you talk about those other two. It's up to them to prove something in terms of being competitive tonight. What's going on at 7 and 9 for this trio? Why can't they correct the ship, or what do you see as the problem?
They can't get it together offensively. They're playing hero ball on too many occasions, whereas I score, okay, now it's your turn, now it's your turn. Everybody trying to make sure the other gets theirs instead of playing within the flow of the offense consistently. It's not that they never do it, it's that they don't do it on a consistent basis. This is the number 2 defense in the NBA. You know you've got a four-headed monster because you've got Russell Westbrook and Paul George as an elite defensive backcourt. You've got Steven Adams with Andre Roberson. That's the only reason he's in the NBA, by the way, Roberson, is because he could play defense. If it was about offense, he wouldn't even make the D-League. He's there for defense. And so you've got a situation where you look at them along with Carmelo Anthony, and you recognize that collectively they can get things done defensively, but offensively, it's going to be up to Billy Donovan to figure this out, to make sure the spacing is correct, that they're sharing the basketball, and they're playing within a flow as opposed to just playing hero ball, your turn, my turn, etc. That is not going to work against the elite teams in the NBA, and Golden State is the elite of the elite. So it certainly ain't going to work against them.
Yeah, and so if they're playing hero ball, and then even beyond Golden State, do you see them correcting this? Does it just take more time? Do they need more? They need more chemistry.
It's 16
with one
games. It's 16 games, Carrie. They've never played with each other before. You got to remember, Kevin Durant goes to Golden State. Everybody had played together. Kevin Durant was joining them. In the case of Oklahoma City, Paul George, Carmelo Anthony, and Russell Westbrook have never played together in the NBA. So it's going to take time for them to figure that out, and we believe they have the requisite skills to do so. It's just that the West is tough. Chris Paul, we see the effect his absence has had on the Clippers, but it's going to work for Houston. We know what San Antonio is going to be when Kawhi Leonard comes back, and we know what Golden State is no matter what. And so when you look at it from that perspective, you got a lot of competition. They're going to have to get it together, and sooner better than later would suffice, because if you're Oklahoma City, what you really, really want is some home court advantage. If not against Golden State, certainly against some of the other teams in the West.
All right, circling back to tonight, what do you expect to see in this game between OKC and the Warriors?
I expect it to be a tough matchup. I expect Golden State to win because they're the better team. They're accustomed to playing with one another. And if Kevin Durant shows up on the court, I don't give a damn if he's 75%. He's still better than 98% of the league. He's that level of a superstar. So him with Steph Curry, who's having an MVP caliber season, Klay Thompson as well, they know who they are. They're comfortable with their identity, and they're incredibly good at playing with one another. They can't have the doldrum they had against the Philadelphia 76ers earlier on before they outscored them 47-15 in the third quarter the other night. That can't happen, but as long as that doesn't happen, I think a tight-fought matchup ends with Golden State winning this game.
All right, that's our Stephen A. Smith from First Take joining us here on Coast to Coast with his take on what should happen tonight. We appreciate you, fella. David, back to you.
All right, Carrie, big weekend in college football. 4 of the top 5 teams are on the road. Paul Feinbaum tells us which team should be on holiday upset alert.